Hello, welcome back to Access at E3. I'm here with Nick Channon from EA Sports. How are you, Nick?
Good,
to
how
see
are you
again?
And you?
Just had a little look at FIFA 16 for the first time. It seems like every year we come here, we have the same conversation about FIFA. Last year was great. How do you make it better this year? I mean, you said in your presentation that you've innovated all across the pitch. What does that mean?
Well, I think for us as developers, we wanted to use this year to take a step back and look at the game as a whole.
Yeah.
Look at everything that we do, all the systems that we have. We have a really powerful engine, player impact engine, step-based locomotion stuff. How do we, bring the level up everywhere, and where can we innovate? So, it's as simple as that, really. We're looking at every system within our game, innovating within them all, but also listening to player feedback. And, really heard a lot this year about how players wanted much more confidence in defending and wanted the midfield to play to come back, wanted that midfield to matter again. So we're really working those things in as well. But it really is about innovating across the entire pitch.
Talking specifically about defending there, because it's been mentioned quite a lot. There's loads of new things that defenders can do. We saw in the presentation there, more aggressive interception, just the way they think about moving into space and just the intelligence of the defensive play seems really ramped up this year. Could you just give us a few examples of what you're doing in the defence and how it's improved?
Absolutely, and because I think at times last year there was a little bit of imbalance, and a balanced game, especially in a sports game, is a fun game to play. So at times last year the speedy wingers were a little bit overpowering. It was quite difficult as a defender to keep up with them. So we've done a lot of work around the defensive agility, how the players move, the speed balance between attacking and defending as well. But the quick turns, you could kind of overrun players a little bit when you were trying to keep up as a defender last year. So we've done a lot around individual player movement. But on top of that, we wanted teams to defend more as a unit. Very much in FIFA previously, we'd focus a lot more on man marking, whereas now we have man marking, but players now have the intelligence to move away from the player that they're marking to defend more dangerous space. You mentioned the interceptions as well. I think that's one of the bigger changes, a real profound effect on the feeling of the game. Players are much more aggressive, but we then talk about balance, so we're also doing a lot on the attacking side as well.
And I guess it's good news for people who go online and constantly come up against Real Madrid and Barcelona and Messi and Ronaldo just destroy them all the time. So it gives you, I guess that's still going to be hard to tackle players like that, but you have more options available to actually try and combat that kind of threat now.
It's a fantastic point, and again, it was one of the reasons we wanted to focus and look at our game as a whole this year. With so many games this year when you played online, it was Real Madrid versus Real Madrid. You had Ronaldo on one side, Bale on the other, and it was something we wanted to make sure that, again, more balance to come into the game. There's going to be more variety in the teams that you want to use. You play differently. When players are trying to intercept the ball, when they're defending as a unit, you have to think about how you're going to attack, whereas times you could get it out wide and just use pace. So we wanted it so you could play your way and think about different tactics that you wanted to use, and again, I think that's a much more fulfilling experience.
I really liked what Carvajal did in the demo, where as soon as Real Madrid lost possession, he instantly bombed back to cover Neymar's run, and how Marcelo kind of got up from the slide tackle as well. That seems like a really cool new move.
Yeah, I mean, we've completely reworked the slide tackles, so lots of new animations, but also giving you the ability to branch out at any point. So I think, again, previously you'd go in for a slide tackle. It was, it could be, make it, it's great, but it was a bit of all or nothing.
Yeah.
Whereas now you can go in for a slide tackle, you can press the button again, and you can pop back up. So, there's still it's not completely overpowering now, slide tackles, but it gives you a bit more responsiveness.
So I guess for players who love playing as these teams with real flair players like Ronaldo and Messi, they're going to be feeling like, oh man, it's not going to be as easy for me now. But there are also new stuff in there for the attackers. Like you mentioned, the no-touch dribbling looked really, really cool.
Yeah, and again, that's looking at balance, but we've done a lot of work in defending, which actually means, I said it was a little bit overpowered for the attackers last year. Because we've done so much work in defending, we can now even do more again in attacking too. So you mentioned no-touch dribbling. It's now having the ability to sort of use the ball as your friend, if you like. You watch the Messis, the Ronaldos, they kind of feint, they look around, they sort of don't touch the ball with every dribble, and we wanted to bring that in. So you use L1, hold it down, and at that point you're not then actually you're not using dribble touches. So you can do feints, shimmies, you can step over the ball. It's kind of nice because you can kind of do special moves without having to, skill moves, without having to use the combinations. It's a really nice way to be able to feint out defenders.
And I really loved in the trailer how, as a Palace fan, a little bit of Yannick Bolasie got in there, that wonderful skill he did against Tottenham. There's now skill moves in highlights as well? Is that a thing that I've seen?
So we now have highlights at the end. Well, we've always had highlights at the end of the game. And actually the highlights are now, we've changed the flow so that you'll see the highlights a little bit more prominent, a little easier to access. Everyone wants to see what's just happened that's cool in the game. Obviously we have the highlights that run automatically, but you can now go in and actually play the different moments. Again, we've had that, but we brought it more prominent in the flow so people can experience it more.
One of the main things obviously about FIFA that's always really exciting for football fans is the authenticity of it. And last year we had all the Premier League stadiums, and it felt like you were watching Sky Sports whenever you were playing a massive game. What are you doing to ensure that continues, gets even better even?
Yeah, I mean, it's something we talk about a bit later.
Okay.
We normally talk about any new stadiums, if there are any, or anything, licensed content a little bit later on. But obviously this year, from an authenticity sport point of view, we've introduced the 12 international women's teams. So very excited about that. I think for us it's very important that we had women in our game. But when we did it, we wanted to do it properly. So we've taken the time. We've been working on it for a number of years now, and we as a team are very proud to be able to add that element to our game.
And what can you tell us about the women's football? You've not just reskinned a bunch of things and added long hair to them. You fully fully modelled them, fully motion captured them. Got all the facial capture in.
Absolutely, and it's funny you said that, but that's where we started. So 2 or 3 years ago we created a prototype which was literally a woman's head on a man's body. And we did it not to just show is that how we do it, it's just what's all the things that we need to do, where's all the deficiencies in doing that. So we realized actually that to do it properly we needed to work on our body scaling. So our body scaling previously was quite linear in the way we just sort of grew people up. We didn't do it by joints, we didn't do it by hips, shoulders. So we've reworked that system, which obviously makes a much more authentic female body type. But the other side as well is we now have more authentic male body types too. So Peter Crouch is tall and skinny, and we got Akifemwa. If you're a FUT fan, obviously he's a pretty popular player. We can now create that him more authentically within our game. So but also hair simulation. When you're just focused on men, there's not that many players with ponytails, so we didn't make it a focus, but to bring women in we felt we needed to, and so that again has helped Ibrahimovic as an example, for not just obviously women's hair movement.
Beautiful hair now. That'd be great.
So but then also we went out and we scanned as many of the female teams as we could. We've created new animations, and we've completely created a different rating scale, so they feel very, very different as well.
Thanks very much for talking to us.
No problem.
All right. FIFA is looking absolutely awesome as always. Make sure you stay tuned to the channel because we have absolutely loads of videos coming up for E3 all throughout the week.